Hey guys, welcome to Vietnam. In this video, we're gonna talk about Hanoi. Hanoi is the capital and second most populous city of Vietnam. It's situated in northern Vietnam on the western bank of the Red River, about 85 miles inland from the South China Sea. As a municipality, Hanoi consists of 12 urban districts, 17 rural districts, and one district-level town. Hanoi's population only started to increase rapidly in the second half 20th century. In 1954, the city had only 53,000 inhabitants. Today, the city's population is around 8.5 million people. Hanoi is a major metropolitan area of northern Vietnam, and also the country's cultural and political center. The city is sometimes called the Paris of the East, for its French influences. Now, let's talk about a little bit of Hanoi's history. First, it was founded in 1010 AD by Emperor Li Jiangtuo, who named it Thang Long, meaning a standing dragon. It became the capital of Vietnam's Li dynasty. It was the main capital of Vietnam until 1802, when the Nguyen dynasty transferred the capital south to Hue. Then, in the mid-19th century, Hanoi came under French colonial rule. The French reshaped the city with Western architecture and modern infrastructure, leaving behind landmarks like the Hanoi Opera House. Under French rule, Hanoi again became an important administrative center, and in 1902 it was made the capital of French Indochina. After the French defeat in 1954, Hanoi became the capital of North Vietnam. During the Vietnam War, many of its monuments and palaces were destroyed by US bombing. As the capital of Vietnam for almost 1,000 years, Hanoi is considered one of the main cultural centers of Vietnam. Even though some relics have not survived through wars and time, the city still has many interesting cultural and historic monuments. Now, let's look at some of the most famous sites. Ho Chi Minh's Mausoleum is an important historical attraction of Hanoi. The construction of the mausoleum took place after the death of Ho Chi Minh, more precisely in the years 1973 to 1975. The materials that constitute the building were contributed by people from all over the country. Even the garden that surrounded the mausoleum has a collection of plants and bonsais donated from all regions in Vietnam. Hanoi Opera House. This building is considered to be one of the architectural landmarks of Hanoi. It was erected by the French colonial administration, and today it's hosting a wide range of performances including operas, ballets, and traditional Vietnamese music and dance. Old Quarter. This area was the historic residential and commercial center. It's packed with French colonial architecture and bustling streets. Old Quarter simply can't be missed when visiting Hanoi. On the street, you will definitely absorb the true atmosphere of Hanoi. Relax while walking around the lake and discover the perfect restaurant with local cuisine on every corner. You will see the insight into the daily life of locals. Most tourists stay in this area when they visit. Temple of Literature, also known as One Miu, was built in the style of traditional Vietnamese architecture. The entire complex consists of 5 courtyards, which are separated from each other by a main road and an entrance gate. The Temple of Literature is the first university complex in Vietnam. Not only is it a cultural and historical relic, many students come here to pray for luck in their upcoming exams and studies. Presidential Palace. This 100 years old French colonial palace is the residence of Vietnam's president. It's also the best place to learn about Vietnam's history. Cathedral of Saint Joseph. This building is the oldest church in Hanoi. Compared to other buildings in Hanoi, this cathedral looks more European than Asian. The cathedral looks very similar to the famous Notre Dame in Paris. It's packed with a lot of tourists coming here every day. Around the cathedral area, there are a lot of street vendors, restaurants, and cafes. It's one of the most outstanding works of French colonial architecture in Hanoi. Imperial Citadel of Thang Long is a complex of historic buildings associated with the history of Vietnam. It was built in the 11th century by the Vietnamese Ly dynasty. Head deeper and you will discover the profound history of Hanoi. From the top of the building, you will also get a nice view of the garden. If you are interested in the Vietnam War, make sure to visit Hoa Lo Prison, located near the Honm Lake. The prison was used to lock up political prisoners fighting for independence in the war. By 1954, it housed almost 2,000 inmates who were shackled to walls and lived in terrible conditions. These prisoners were tortured physically and mentally. The living conditions here were appalling. Poor quality food, poor sanitary conditions, many diseases, and bad personal hygiene. The prison's atmosphere is really impressive. It gives visitors a small taste of the harsh conditions and suffering endured by the prisoners. Another place you might want to visit is Don Juan Market, originally built by the French administration in 1888. It's the largest covered market in Hanoi. It offers a wide range of products from clothing, electronics, food, or flowers. It's also a good place to take back home souvenirs and traditional Vietnamese products. Outside of the market are many stalls selling meat, vegetables, or these sweet French pastries. And also a great variety of fresh fruits. I bet you have probably seen this place before on social media. It's the famous Hanoi Train Street. It's a very popular place. Most tourists came here to see the train that drives through the street several times a day. The street is only 200 meters long and is lined with houses on either side. There are several cafes along the street where you can sit, order some coffee, and wait for the train. Make sure to be careful as the street can get really busy. Beyond the sightseeing, make sure to visit some of the city's wonderful parks. Honm Lake, located in the heart of the Honm district. This park is filled with local artists. In the middle of this lake lies a turtle island that has stood there for over 100 years. Unfortunately, there are no boats to Turtle Tower. You can only look at it from the banks around the lake. Locals are very friendly. Sometimes it can feel like they are just drinking coffee and eating. You will be welcomed with lots of nice smiles, so don't forget to smile back. Most Vietnamese state Buddhism as their religion, so you will come across many smaller and larger Buddhist temples throughout the city. As Amsterdam is known for its wheat, or Czech Republic is known for its beer, Hanoi is mostly famous for one drink, egg coffee. Egg coffee is a very popular drink and it can be found in almost every coffee shop in the whole Vietnam. It's made of egg yolks, sugar, condensed milk, and Robusta coffee. Vietnamese people have a strong love for coffee. For them, coffee is not just a drink to start the day. Rather, it can be enjoyed at noon, in the afternoon, or even at night. If you hate traffic and crowded roads, then you are in for a real treat in Hanoi. The city is flooded with motorbikes and you bump into one in every few steps. In fact, it's estimated that Hanoi has over 5 million motorbikes racing across the city's streets. Having a motorbike is a common thing in Hanoi, and owning a car is considered a luxury. In an attempt to reduce pollution and traffic, in 2017, the government announced that all mopeds, scooters, and motorbikes would be banned in the city by 2030. Locals are dubious about whether this can actually happen. Other than motorbikes, you can explore the city on these rickshaws. They are very popular in Hanoi. A 10-minute rickshaw ride will cost you around $1. Unlike in Vietnam's neighboring countries, tuk-tuks are not common here. You can't talk about Hanoi without mentioning the delicious food that is all over the city. Vietnam holds the second place in terms of rice consumption per capita. A typical Vietnamese eats 169 kilograms of rice per year. Rice is consumed daily in various forms, steamed, as noodles, or as a flour for making rice paper and others. When it comes to street food, one of the most popular dishes that you will find almost everywhere is pork, widely recognized as Vietnam's national dish. This beef noodle soup is made with clear broth, rice noodles, and thinly sliced beef, and it's served with fresh herbs, raw vegetables, and lime wedges. Other popular dish may include bun cha. This dish is served with grilled fatty pork over a plate of white rice noodles and herbs.
You ask little noodle, yeah, it's made from rice. So, yes. Everything noodle, yes, in Vietnam they already made from rice, not anything else. And that you is one meatball and one keep box like this. Yes. And after that you need spoon to add a little sauce. And especially the final, and you need to add a lot of vegetables. Don't eat like that, just eat leaf. Yeah, it's the leaf. Okay. And you can try the salad, this one, yes.
As the country's capital, it hosts 78 foreign embassies, the headquarters of People's Army of Vietnam, its own Vietnam National University system, and many other governmental organizations. Hanoi is also a major tourist destination, with over 18 million domestic and international visitors in 2022. According to Mastercard's 2019 report, Hanoi was the most visited city in Vietnam. Since 2014, Hanoi has been consistently voted in the world's top 10 destinations by TripAdvisor. The tourist destinations in Hanoi are grouped into two main areas, the Old Quarter and the French Quarter. The Old Quarter is known for its traditional markets and many historic temples. The French Quarter, on the other hand, showcases Hanoi's colonial architecture, wide boulevards, and landmarks like the Hanoi Opera House and the Presidential Palace. Hanoi is a backpacker-friendly city. Hostels are very cheap and offers great options to meet other backpackers. They can even arrange you a trip to other places in Vietnam, such as Halong Bay, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, popular for its limestone formations rising from the sea. Sapa, a small town in northern Vietnam known for its scenic views and nearby villages, full of classical Vietnamese traditions. Or Ha Giang Loop, where you can rent a motorbike and explore Vietnam's beautiful landscapes. Overall, Hanoi is a must-visit city in Vietnam. As the capital of Vietnam for almost 1,000 years, Hanoi is considered one of the main cultural centers of Vietnam, where most Vietnamese dynasties have left their imprint. The city hosts more cultural sites than any other city in Vietnam, and boasts more than 1,000 years of history. That of the past few hundred years has been well preserved. So what do you think about Hanoi? Have you ever visited? Let me know it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.